Heyo! This
Hey.
is the Hangover Sports podcast. We're excited to bring it to you on this new format of a Zoom so you guys can still listen to our amazing experts here. Max Gibbs Gray, the infamous Mr. Gibbs, and JP
Sir.
Grace, our runner, track star, bike,
He's a track
speed, demon
star.
fiend, and our wonderful Facebook dad, Supreme Poppy. Seems like he's more of just like an entity at this point, but
He's an entity at this
he,
point.
he he
He's
had he had other
being a good little
obligations that couldn't
Christian.
be rearranged. So,
All right, he's being a good little Christian this morning.
Oh my god.
all right. Well, is there anything new that you two have noticed over the season that may have been like a new development that wasn't there at the start of the fantasy leagues?
Well, for me right now with fantasy basketball, the COVID-19 protocols that have been going around, a lot of teams, including my Knicks, have had several players be out because of the quarantining and stuff. And it's a shame because right now, yeah, like in the head-to-head ESPN stuff, there's a lot of people out. It's making us rely on, deeper players, but at the same time, it happens. It'll happen, but we're seeing players now get unrostered pretty quickly.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was almost about to laugh because I saw Max doing this. I'm like, bro, you good? Like,
I'm waking up. I'm vibing.
But yeah, that is a good point because I feel like a lot of us Americans here just really want COVID to desperately be over as much as people around the world do, just in general. And I feel like we kind of are in a denial stage at this point that it's still a thing. And we just really don't want COVID to exist to the point where we're just like, no, that's just so 2020,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see how it still affect players. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What about you, Max?
So there is COVID going on in the NFL. One game, the Raider game got postponed yesterday. They were able to play one of the two games yesterday, so that was at least helpful. But then the Raider game got postponed to, I think it was Tuesday night. So they're gonna move that up. They're gonna still stay have the same place, still the same players, but they're trying to because both the starting quarterback and the backup quarterback both got COVID.
Oh no.
For not for the Raider team, but for the team that they're facing. So they're both underneath COVID protocol. So instead of like canceling the game, they're just moving it. They moved it from Saturday night. I got that news when I was getting to the airport yesterday. They moved it from Saturday night to they're gonna try to play it Tuesday night around 5 o'clock.
Mm.
So there's that. So like both of the teams of they're both the backup and the starting quarterback are under COVID protocols or a non-contact or what type of protocols they're under. So there's that going on with the NFL when it comes to COVID.
Mm. And I'm sure that's probably happening with other sports too, like baseball and so forth, where it's still just as prevalent of a problem. And it's really unfortunate because I feel like we have been getting so close for it to, cease to exist. And then it's like, oh yeah, these players got COVID.
Yeah. So that game moved up from Saturday, and that's supposed to be I think they're supposed to play that Monday around 5 because the Browns starting quarterback and backup quarterback both got COVID, or at least are in
Max.
contact tracing.
Wait, so their backup and starting one got COVID?
Yeah.
Who's playing now and replacing them?
Well, I think they're like as of right now. Last time I checked, they are. It might be the third uh string guy, but I think they sort of originally moved the game back because they wanted to try to mitigate or try to delay the response time. So hopefully he can get he can just get quarantined in 40 hours and he gets cleaned out or something. But
That's not bad.
they're
Cleaned
not.
out.
Yeah, yeah. So like as I like look it up, like they don't even know who's gonna be available for Monday. So like it's really I don't even know who's starting Monday, JP, or
Oh,
Monday's tomorrow
okay.
night, and they don't even know. They don't even know who's starting Monday night. They just know they're gonna play
They're
it.
backup.
The back, yeah,
Exactly.
the third string.
Yeah, because like I think ended up being like there are two quarterbacks on the roster got COVID, and then I think like ended up like. Do you anticipate at this point get anyone else off the COVID list today, and then other than us?
What's that? Is someone watching TV?
Jake, as you can imagine, things are very fluid.
Max, is that you? It's not me.
I'm gonna keep on going.
Oh,
We don't know. There's uncertainty there.
Next, it's supposed to be our podcast, not some other person's.
Have that mentality.
Oh shit! No, I was looking at oh shit! Not know what that was. I was looking at I was looking up an article on this to research it, but like, and then that was the coach like really like commenting on the statement.
nice. So we don't get copyright strike
Yeah.
for that.
So like it was like so it ends up because I wanted to look at the number. So basically, the backup and the starter got COVID, and 20 guys on the Browns roster right now are are quarantined. 20 out of the 53 guys on the roster, so half the team is quarantined. So it's gonna be a fun Monday night game so far if they actually play it by because they're supposed to postpone it by 5 o'clock tomorrow. So who knows if the game's gonna go on? I think they're planning to play it, but who knows?
Nobody knows.
Damn right, Ray. Damn right.
Well, whether it's been this year or last year, has there been a favorite player of you guys that you were sad to find out that they had gotten COVID?
Trying to think. Really nobody on the Knicks or on my fantasy team were in COVID protocol that much. I think
Nice.
can't really remember really I don't really think many of which is surprising in New York, but I don't remember many Knicks players getting COVID or anybody on my fantasy team getting COVID or being in those protocols last year.
Nice. So you clearly have good picks then.
Yeah. Nobody was. I made sure my team was, not going out at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Max? I saw you shaking your head, but
No one got COVID, but my whole entire family lineup for my family league is injured.
Family lineup?
Yeah.
Family? You mean fantasy?
Family fantasy league.
Oh. Okay.
So I only have 6 starters, injured or done for the season. So I had to reset my whole entire lineup. I had to drop everybody and just trade everybody.
Oh no.
So
yeah, I could just imagine.
It's been a fun experience.
I could just imagine a mom make a fantasy family league. It's like, okay, you get this many points if you do this amount of chores.
I wish it was that easy. I wish it wasn't the same 3 people dominating the league after year after year. It happens.
So I think in one of the previous episodes, JP touched on this a bit, but I wanted to kind of expand on the fact of very popular players that you might actually shy away from having as part of your league because of certain things, like maybe they're not as good on a different skill that you really need to have recruited onto your team or whatnot, just that kind of thing. So there's like a big name player that you guys like, I mean, everyone will probably want to get him, but actually for my team, it probably wouldn't work out as well, kind of thing.
Well, I'm going to start here for fantasy basketball. I would say the biggest disappointment for me right now, and I texted Max, who's in my fantasy league, about this yesterday, was Anthony Davis. The guy keeps on getting hurt. I don't really he keeps on saying he's jacking up threes, and yeah, he's doing well statistically. He's one of the best power forwards in the league, but he's really got to stay focused and try to do the things that will get him more fantasy points, not do stuff like jack up threes. And it's important for him to stay healthy, not even in fantasy sense, but like for the Lakers right now, who are a team that are getting better, but Anthony Davis is obviously a key part of that team and how they do things. So that's affecting my fantasy team and the Lakers. But another player who I do want to touch on, who played last night and who's on the Knicks, is Julius Randle. Randle, I had hope for him at the beginning of the season. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's a guy who's just gonna, play well. He's gonna, have an amazing season. Now this season, he's kind of coming in late, but he's not getting much better. And he's turning into the Julius Randle who I thought should get traded in 2019. But at the same time, yeah, he can get you fantasy points, especially if you're in a league with a lot of players. He still averages 5 assists. He still averages 19 points, and he still averages 10 rebounds. So, yeah, again, those are two players who I would say, aren't playing well, they're playing well, but they aren't playing well fantasy-wise, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Seems very thorough. Look at you.
Very thorough.
All right, what about you, Max?
Well, let's see here. For me, it's about not much about people playing well. It's everyone just hurts everywhere. Like as I say, both my
Agreed.
lineups, both my football league and my basketball league are just injury ridden right now. Everyone's
Same.
out. Everyone's out or done for the season. So it's not like people are underperforming. It's that fact that no one's on the floor. So therefore, everyone's performing. Everyone's underperforming because no one can actually get on the floor and be healthy for my team, which is so frustrating.
Oof.
You can see it. You can hear that irritation in my voice.
Yeah, Max,
Yeah.
you know how stressed I was in that group chat yesterday.
Oh yeah, I know. I read the text messages.
Yeah, I bet the players are just as annoyed.
I thought you were about to. The text sounded like you were about to throw something across the floor. That's how upset you were.
Probably.
Ooh.
See,
That could have been
I'm
real
not
bad.
wrong. Like the text sounded like he was about to throw something across the floor. They were pissed off.
Hulk smash!
They were pissed off text.
Yeah, it's alright. I'll throw this thing across the room.
There you go.
Tiger Woods.
What is it?
The Tiger Woods cut out.
You gonna throw it
the
300
Tiger Woods
yards?
cut out. I love that. He's sitting. He's sitting right now in 6th place with his son at the amateur professional lineup. He's teaming up with his little 13-year-old kid, his 13-year-old boy.
That's cute.
That's so cute.
I
They're
love it.
right now, I think, sitting in 5th or 6th at a memorial.
Pretty good.
Good old Tiger Woods.
Good old Tiger. So with fantasy leagues, is there something that you didn't think would be the case when you first got into it, like more and more when you got really involved in fantasy leagues? When more just you heard about how they'd run, you're like, oh, okay. But then something unexpected, whether good or bad, was like, oh yeah, well this is part of the deal here with running fantasy leagues and composing teams, I guess.
For me, I was unaware of injury reserve, that system, like the injury reserve season. Last season, I probably could have won my league if I knew what it was, because I didn't know you could sign extra players after you, I didn't know, you could pick up extra players after you put that player in the IR position, because that definitely would have saved me some points, and I probably would have won my league if I knew about that in advance.
Hey, at least you know now.
There you go.
What about you, Max?
Like for me, I always use snake drafts, which is like standardized draft, like regular drafting. But then I never have drafted with like auction drafts, which is apparently like like highest you're given probably set amount of money or, cap and you're bidding on everybody. So that's something that I have actually never tried to do before, mainly because it seems like just more overcomplicated than it needs to be. But like that's just I never have tried that, even though I keep hearing about like the auction, auction versus snake draft, and I usually just do snake draft.
Yeah, I had no idea auction was a format for that. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I can just imagine like, okay, and here we got a player, play, got player, player. I'm gonna vote for this one, I'm gonna vote for this one.
Yeah. Imagine that scenario. One person could just use their whole entire budget in the first 10 picks, and they're like, what am I going to do for the rest of this?
Yeah, especially put that way is probably not the best idea.
Exactly.
Unless you have like one of those unlimited cards, or
Yeah.
So I'm just curious about with the fantasy leagues you guys are both more
And
an expert on and things like that. Yeah. What kind of gravitated you towards the sport of your choice, if you will? Like, I know, Max, you're multiple and more than just football, but you seem to have most knowledge in football, and same for you and JP with basketball. I'm just curious, what about those sports attracted you the most with this format?
Um, well, for me, I would say that I've always been a basketball fan when I was younger. So since I've been like 5, so yeah, I was a big Knicks fan. So to do this, it's definitely fun because it's a way to make it's a way to kind of make a lineup of your own and see how those players' statistics will come together to play against other, other friends or teammates or whatever that put together their teams. So yeah, it's really fun to just like, watch it. It makes you be a fan of different players and different teams too.
That sounds really cool, honestly. What about you, Max? Were you ever throwing a football at like the ripe old age of 5
yeah,
or whatever?
yeah. So like
Just like,
football, has been always doing the first one. For me, I always like to say that's always my first love. But like, like I've always done football, and then like for me, it's like as they say, like I'm on like I have like I have a hockey fantasy team with I'm on like a 14 league with that with like me, Andrew, Jesse, and Andrew's roommate. So like it's like a small league. I am on 2-game win streak, and I know nothing about hockey, so this is fantastic right now. And then
hey.
for me, I'm like, I have like three football leagues, and then I have like the 2 basketball leagues that I'm in. So like, I get around. Um, and so like I said, like football is like the one I'm most knowledgeable with. Then it probably goes basketball. Then lastly hockey, because like for me it's like with hockey I just draft it based off like the big players that I know because I'm like I don't know what else to do. And then once everything just plunked out of there, I'm just like, you know what? Let's look at positional ranking off the waiver wire, and we're just gonna do it off that because this is just gonna be so much easier because I'm just gonna do probably statistics because I'm the one who's probably at a disadvantage out of the 4 of them.
Well, it seems to have done you well, though, considering how you've won. So,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if it
I
ain't
must
broke,
be
don't
doing
fix
something
it.
right.
Yeah.
I must be doing something right.
It's kind of like what my dad would say just to tease me a bit. He said, if you're going to be good for something.
Damn right. All day, every day.
Well, is there anything that people may not know when first getting into fantasy that you wish someone told you when you first started?
Oh wait, Max, yeah, you
you
can
can go
start.
ahead, JP.
You want me to go ahead? All right. So the question was, what advice someone should give you?
Yeah, basically, like you wish someone would have told you when you first got into fantasy. You're like, oh, well, I found out a friend of mine's getting into it, so I'm going to tell them so they don't have to find out the same way I did, kind of thing.
I would say don't. I think in terms of fantasy basketball, which is the only fantasy I've done so far, I would say, don't jam out. Either don't jam out someone at the same position as you all the time, or sorry, if don't. So, for example, like don't jam out like all point guards. Select all point guards. Make sure the team is balanced in terms of positions. And it's good to have, you can have one player you can have 1 to 2 players on from different teams. So, like, for example, draft 2 players from like a team like the Celtics, but don't pick like the Celtics whole starting five because then, you don't have enough people to play in the next game when the Celtics don't play, for
Mm.
example.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so don't choose too many people from the same team and don't choose too many people from the same position. That's what I'm gonna say.
Seems like solid advice.
I kind of made that mistake this year with Max.
Yes, sir, you did.
That I kind of fixed it now, so that's
Uh-huh.
good.
You keep thinking that. You're still in trouble, JP.
Well, what would you say, Max?
So when it comes to like fantasy football, there's like positions that eventually go off the board first. It's less about like who the player is and more about position. So like you have the if you have like the 7th pick, like in your draft out of like 10 league, the top 5 running backs are already off the board by the time you're picking, because like there's like a there's a order of how people usually set up their lineup or draft their team. So it's usually like running backs are the first ones off the board, unless like you have Devontae Adams, which is like a Packers wide receiver. But like honestly, like the first 10 picks in almost all my leagues have been running backs, and then usually it's the wide receivers off the board, and then after that, then it's probably either the tight ends or the quarterbacks. But like those are like usually the 2 positions that are just gone by the way. So like you can get screwed if you don't know what you're doing in the sense of how you're setting up your lineup, because you'll be like, like especially for a person who's sort of new and hasn't done it, it's very beneficial to know that like, hey, I do not want to draft a quarterback first overall. I should be drafting my quarterback in the 7th round of the draft. So like it's just sort of like positional need and understanding like the value of what position what one position has over another.
Well, I feel like what you both have said just now would benefit tons of people who would get into fantasy leagues. So they have a good leg up if they heed those words. Well, is there anything else you guys would like to add before we close this out?
Trying to think. So, Max, I have a question for you.
Of course.
Ooh.
Obviously, with I was obviously saying I'm having a power forward issue. Which power forward do you think I should watch out for and try to make a trade for if I'm trying to trade Anthony Davis or Julius Randle?
Like, would this be a trade in the sense of you getting rid of Anthony Davis and try to obtain another power forward in the process?
Yes.
Let me look this up. Let me see here.
Because right now I have, Draymond Green as like my 3rd string power forward, but he's not going to do much for you.
Yeah.
Obviously he can get, 30 fantasy points, but he can't get you, Julius Randle and Anthony Davis's numbers.
Yeah, well, I think you're looking at the position, like as you say, you're looking at the position again, JP.
Yeah.
And like, power forward, center, okay, so you're gonna look for a power forward or center to replace thing. And then I'm like looking at the waiver wire, and you're probably better off doing that on trade. Actually. Yeah, like you want to do it on trade because um so I'd probably look at like who like for instance like our league is who does Makai have as power forward or center, and do you think you can obtain that while you're getting rid of Anthony Davis on a high note, considering he's injured, Because
Yeah.
because his value will go down because he is injured. But like, if you like did like a trade with Makai, like let's see here, his center is Towns and Thaddeus Young. So like,
Yeah, I wouldn't give up Carl. If I were him, I would not give up Carl Anthony
that's
Towns
what I'm
right
saying.
now.
Is like no, like I'm saying like yeah, that's sort of what I'm saying is like you're not going to get Carl Anthony Towns because Carl Anthony Towns is basically another top five center, but he's healthy, unlike what you have.
Yeah,
So
he's
I
moved
would
up the rankings right now. He's above Steph Curry on ESPN.
what Towns?
Yeah, he's moved up to number 5.
Yeah, he's the number 2 center right now. But like I would say like if you can get not even that I was like that maybe you can get like if you want to trade him maybe you can get like someone like Vucevic and maybe a secondary guard.
I don't know. I don't like Vucevic right now. He's not playing well. He's not shooting very well.
Yeah, because I'm looking at like let's see, Deo has you're not getting Jokic. Like you're just in a tough position where it's like you're either going to settle for like a secondary center because the guy's injured, or you're going to get like a package of a secondary center. I feel like, or you can get like along with either a guard or a forward. Like I think you can get like a top 15 center probably and a top 10 point guard or forward for him.
Yeah, I
But
mean, Vucevic's still averaging a double-double, but at the same time, 15 points per game. It's kind of a down year for him.
but it sort of says the same thing. Like I think you will have to ask for like a package for it to be fair on your part because if he comes back and it just all depends on like what positions do you need, to replace him. Like, do you need another center to replace Anthony Davis?
Yeah, would you say Kristaps Porzingis is worth as much as Anthony Davis right now?
Uh, Porzingis is
I don't know why, but Zingas reminds me of Bazinga.
a
Porzingis.
gift from Zoom. We're loving it. But I would say I get like Carl, Kristaps. I would try to go after Kristaps Porzingis. You probably
Yeah,
could
right
try to
now
get that
it's.
from Dale.
I mean,
Like,
I'm kind of surprised right now. He's averaging 26.1 points and 10.7 rebounds for 40 minutes. So he's
yeah,
definitely improved a little bit.
like he's averaging 38 fantasy points a game. So like
Yeah, that's a
that's
lot.
gonna replenish that's gonna be like it like I think that's gonna be worth like if you trade if you trade him you trade for
Hmm.
him. I think you could get him, but you'll have to throw in like a guard or another position.
Yeah, my,
I don't think he because Anthony Davis. I mean, yeah, because Anthony Davis is injured. I don't think you could trade for him straight up. But if you throw in a
yeah.
guard, maybe you can get like someone like Kristaps Porzingis.
My one worry with trading for Porzingis though is that he can easily get hurt too. And one thing I've been worried about him since he's been on the Knicks is that like he's 7'3",
Yeah.
and the last
Well,
time we've seen
he's
people
on the
close to his
Knicks.
height, their careers have kind of gone down. So that's one thing I've always been skeptical about Porzingis is can he stay healthy?
Yeah, he's averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal a game and 2 blocks. So like he's gonna get you your fantasy points if he can stay on the court. But it comes back to your thing is sort of like because you're trading an injured player already for a healthy player, you can't get like someone like you would have to get like a Porzingis type player instead of a Towns type player, because you're trading away an injured player for a healthy player, you know. it always
Yeah.
puts, it always displays the value of your player if your player's injured while you're training. That's sort of what I would say on it. Like, that's who I would probably try to attain, but like, you know, because of, yeah.
Max, one question I had for you is Klay Thompson's coming back in, January.
Yep, January as of right now.
So how long do you think you would wait to, pick him up in a fantasy league?
I would not,
You would just pick him up right away?
I would probably, because like, he's going to be on a waiver wire, hopefully, until,
I mean, I know he's on our waiver wire.
yeah, I know, but like, it just depends on how much people want. Because even if you pick him up now, you're not going to be able to play him for 2 weeks. So you're wasting a roster spot for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know that.
So that's sort of where I'm saying is like, if you want to, you could, but like, if you want that Klay Thompson just sitting there on your bench for 2 weeks, like not
Yeah,
doing
no,
anything and just
I'm
trying to deplete your bench depth, sure. But
yeah,
like,
I know James Wiseman isn't gonna come back. I know that you're not immediately gonna put him on a roster. Anybody will immediately when he comes back. He'll kind of have to
yeah,
put his way back up.
yeah,
But
because
yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they should wait that long. And Kyrie Irving, right now, a lot of people have him on their team. Kyrie Irving, right now, he was going to come back, but now he's in the COVID protocols again. So he's gonna be interesting. I wonder what people are gonna do with him when he comes back. Is he gonna stay consistent? Because right now he and Ben Simmons are the two players who are like not hurt but aren't doing anything, so they're just sitting on your injury reserve spot.
yeah. Well, like it comes back to Ben Simmons. I don't even know what's going on with that situation, but like, it's just, they're it's
I
really
mean,
the
hopefully
idea.
they're gonna trade him soon.
It's hopefully the idea of like, they're not playing, but they're healthy, but like, like they're wasting a roster spot. So it's really hard to do because they're not injured. It's hard to like justify what you're going to do here. Cause I highly doubt you can get a better player than like Kyrie Irving or Ben Simmons off the waiver wire,
Oh yeah,
but at the same time, like, are you going to like, how long can you go without, that happening,
yeah. Because how much is he rostered right now?
Which one, Ben Simmons or Kyrie Irving?
Ben Simmons. Wait, hold on a second. Let's see here. Yeah, because Ben Simmons can pass. He's not going to score a lot. Ben Simmons can pass very well.
Like he's injured, but
Well,
like he's not like
and rebound. He kind of has like a big frame to him, and he can't really shoot, which is
like
fine, I guess. But at the same
he can do
time, he'll
everything
get
else
you.
but shoot. So he'll get you fantasy points by rebounding, assisting, and
Yeah,
steals. He can do everything else. But like for instance, like in our league, no one can take, he's not available.
yeah. No, I know he's not available in our league.
He's still available in 76% of leagues somehow. So people are still rostering him even though he's not playing.
He's rostered at 76. So I mean that's not bad. I mean
Yeah,
Kyrie
that's
Irving
three-fourths
right
of
now.
leagues. That's three-fourths of the leagues.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true.
So people are somehow still, even though he's not planning on doing it, I think majority of the people are still keeping him at least on their bench to.
Yeah, I don't
Those are
think he's
probably the
gonna
people that like drafted him up. That's probably the people that drafted him high, and now they're like, I don't want to get rid of one of my high draft picks because of this
Yeah, I don't think
scenario.
he's gonna play until like February because
I have no. I can. I live in Philadelphia, and I don't even know what's going on with this situation.
yeah, it seems
That's
like
how weird this is. I
it's
live in
the
Philadelphia,
same
and I don't
thing
even know what's going on.
it's the same thing with Andre Drummond last year. Like when the Pistons didn't play him, he was a top 5 center, but at the same time that you had to wait to see if he could play. Wait to see what team he could go for. That's what's tough because for me, I had Drummond last year and I kept on waiting. Like when is he going to come back? When are the Pistons going to let him go? And he went to the Lakers where he was putting up the same fantasy points, but he was scoring less, but he was rebounding more. So that definitely, I feel like it's the same situation with Ben Simmons. Like, how long is he going to stay out for, and is it worth having him? Will his rostering go up?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now Kyrie's at 80, at almost 80. So
Yeah. Well, the beautiful part about this, you're still early in the season. So like you can afford to wait a little, and if you end up getting some L's, like at least you got a couple weeks, regroup that. So like if it depends on how much you know you're on the buying time stage, if you know what I mean by that. You're buying time for people to get back healthy, so you can get ready for the playoffs, assuming you know you can get into the playoffs. That's sort of what I feel like when it comes to injuries in the regular season.
yeah,
How long are they out? And can I buy enough and if they are going to be ready for the playoffs, can I buy enough time to just get into the playoffs? So even if I'm like a 5 seed, I can win a couple games and maybe even beat the 1 seed in the second round.
right.
And I look at my roster, like if everyone's healthy, is my roster will it be healthy, A, and B, if it's healthy, and do I think I have a better team than the 1 seed right now? And I'll be like, okay, I could still have a shot at making a run.
Yeah, I completely agree.
This is all about buying time. Is it worth it? And if it's not, then cut him loose.
Well, that
This
is
is
a
this is fantasy. This is no joke here. This is life or death. I'm cutting him loose.
it may be called fantasy, but it's not a fantasy with how serious it is. No.
Fantasy with repercussions.
Well, I feel like that's a good note to end on. And definitely a lot of
What's going on?
definitely a lot of
Wait,
good
where-
insight
where's
could be
JP?
gained.